For those of us who are lucky enough not to have walked a day in their shoes, we often wonder, why don't they just leave? Why do people, women especially, endure abusive relationships when walking away seems the best option? Today on Moans and Cuddles, we take a look at this painful subject of abuse in relationships and why it is so difficult for women especially to take a walk. My name is Akosia Kunedu Owusu. This is Moans and Cuddles on Ghana Web TV. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Moans and Cuddles here on Ghana Web TV. My name is Akosia Kunedu Owusu. So today, to help me do the discussion, I have Miss Tuno. You already know her. She's not new to the Moans and Cuddles set. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Back to Moans and Cuddles.
Thanks.
And the latest addition to the guest, Miss Na. Hi. You're welcome. You're welcome. So, ladies, today we are looking at abusive relationships and why it is so difficult for people to live. And the question that always comes to my mind is, why don't they just leave? Why?
I see abuse as anything that you do to someone that makes them feel uncomfortable. So it could be anything. And from the little I know, there are 4 major types of it. There's the sexual, the child abuse, the emotional one, and then the physical one. So in a relationship, I think all can really happen, all those types of abuse can happen in there. But the worst one is the emotional one. That's how you don't even see that one coming, because it's a form of a manipulation. And sometimes certain, structures in society or religion encourages that, feeds into that. So when you're in a type of relationship where maybe because you're married, you're married to someone and the person feels like he paid your bride price, for example. So then he feels like he owns you. You hear him always saying, I took her my money to marry you. They remind you of that every time. That's emotional abuse.
Yeah.
And so as a woman, you feel like, well, I belong to him. He's paid my bride price. He's reminding me every time. So he feels like he owns you. And that's where sometimes the sexual abuse comes in, because he thinks he owns your body. But I don't think so. So I feel like the bride price has to be scrapped. That's what I feel.
Okay, we'll come to that. But now, what do you think? Why do you think it is so difficult for women to leave?
Basically, I think it's because a lot of factors come into play when it comes to abusive relationships and leaving. You would need to get to the point where you would tell yourself, I'm done. And it doesn't work like that for everyone, because we are all so different and we face different issues. And to add to what she said, she mentioned some types of abuses. The most significant one, I think, is economical abuse or financial abuse. Because if the woman feels that when I leave, especially if there are children involved, when I leave, I won't be able to take care of the children.
Yeah.
Some men would use this kind of abuse to even threaten you after you leave, because how are you going to take care of the children? He knows what to do, but he won't do it, because he knows definitely that is another type of emotional.
Yeah.
Because he knows that when he doesn't do that, and he knows very well that she can't afford to take care of the children, he can continue doing that. So even when you decide to leave and you are not financially sound, I don't know how you're going to survive. So for you to leave, you need to get that level where you tell yourself, I am sound financially, emotionally, I'm sound. I won't listen to what society has to say.
Yeah.
And I can handle everything. Until a woman gets to that point, forget it.
So if we say that someone is emotionally abusing someone, what are we looking at?
When it comes to relationship, especially in Africa, women have not been given enough, space and support to be independent. So usually they get involved in it. Yeah, so every time they expect that the man has to do everything financially. Even when he's going to get engaged to her, he has to even when the lady is welcoming the man's people, he has to even foot the bills for the food that they use to serve people and everything. He has to pay for everything, and that's frustrating for a guy. So when they start the relationship, it's always on a very unbalanced scale.
But
mentally.
There have been situations where the women have been equally financial. Sound.
Yeah, so that's the
and still,
yes.
but
there are guys who want to take all their wives' salary. They insist, give me your salary. So the woman has nothing. I know guys who are so rich and their wives have nothing. Even when they had the money, he will take it from her. You understand? So he will have control. So even if she's putting her money, he will make sure they have a joint account and he has control over that money. So the lady will have to ask him for everything. So that's the thing. And in our society, when you're a woman and you want to be independent, they make it look like you're not submissive. I hate that word because people don't understand that. What do you mean by submissive? She's not your slave. She's not your child. And I feel like people have to be free in a relationship, be independent. To become one, it's a big lie. I feel it's a big lie. I don't believe in to become one, because if both of you die at the same time, you'll be buried in different coffins. It's you can't put them together. So people shouldn't be like two should become one. You're not joined at a hip where if I have to go out, I have to go with you. If I have to do this, people should be free, because you were free. You are an individual when the person met you. So the fact that we are together in a relationship doesn't mean I have to lose my whole self, lose my identity, and then be you. Because usually you find that the women try to change who they are to please the guy, and by the time you realize you don't even recognize yourself anymore.
Miss Na, tell me, for women that are financially sound and still endure emotional abuse, sometimes even physical abuse, what do you think is the problem?
I think for someone to, though you are financially sound, for someone to abuse you emotionally means the person makes you question your self-esteem and self-worth.
Exactly.
So you can be earning 6 figures. You can be earning more than the person. The moment the person makes you feel like you are not worth it, you won't say, because I earn 6 figures, I'm leaving you. I know there are some people like that who would say, I even earn more than you, like who are you? I'll just walk out. Yeah. Those people might have support of family.
Yeah.
One, they don't care what society says. It's placed differently for different people. Some people can be financially sound, but they've been so abused emotionally and psychologically that they don't think they are worth anyone or anything. So when you leave, who is going to be with you? Maybe you have 2 children, you have 3 children, you have 4 children.
Nobody's going to want
do you think anyone would want you? Do you think you're going to survive without me? That is emotional abuse, and it goes deeper than physical abuse. Because that one you don't see.
Yeah.
You don't see it.
Yeah.
And so you can have the 6 figures, the 7, 8, 9 figures. If you don't grow to that level to say, okay, I know my worth, forget it. The person is going to stay. And it's that bad when you see people dwindle. They just, I don't know, like you don't get it. They shrink, and then you ask yourself how. Like when did this happen? How did this happen to you?
Someone like you,
someone like you, because you don't get it. It's because of what you've been made to endure for so long. You feel like you're not worth it. So basically, that's why. And then what society will say.
Yeah, we'll come back and look at the role our parents play, the role society play, the clergy, the people that we go to for counseling. And then we'll continue this discussion. Don't forget that you are here on Moans and Cuddles on Ghana Web TV. We are talking about abusive relationships, why women in particular endure abusive relationships. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Moans and Cuddles here on Ghana Web TV. We are talking about abusive relationships and why it is so difficult for women especially to leave, especially when their lives depend on it. Before we went on the break, we were talking about the types of abuse and why it is so difficult. And now you mentioned something about society. What role has society played that has made it so difficult for women to leave?
I think basically it plays a very huge role because we are brought up in such a way that we need to mind our surroundings, more or less. So when you are enduring a bad marriage, a bad relationship or anything, the first thing you're thinking about when you want to leave is, what is anyone going to think of me? We've been made to believe that their voice counts. And another thing is that if a marriage or a relationship does not work, women are made to take the blame for it. It's like, if your marriage does not work, it's your fault. That's why they will tell you, Bompaye, ebeye, or Woodie, Boshankalano, or
You're not the only one who has
you're not
married and
and you won't like, it's a lot. Okay, and you don't want to come out and be deemed a failure. Especially if you go into marriage for so long and then you come out as like, into our went to me and now. Do you understand? And no one would blame the man. No one would say, that is why you left. They wouldn't say that. It's you. You couldn't keep your home. Because even when you go to the Bible, or see, a wise woman keeps her home.
So
And your home soon as and say, you have to do this, wake up in the morning, do this. You keep the home and keep the marriage. So if you can't do it, then you are deemed a failure. So for any woman to say, okay, I'm at this point, I want to leave, but still the person would think, what would society say? Unless you can get to that point where you say, I don't care what society thinks anymore. If you are in an abusive relationship, don't think about what society would think, because your life is one. And you are not living your life to please anyone but yourself. I always tell people this, that I'm an only child. My life matters to me. Okay, so I won't think about what you think is okay. I think about what I think is good for me. And that's it.
How should we condition our parents' minds to see that it isn't about the fact that your child is married that is important, but whether she is actually healthy and alive in that relationship that is important?
It's a big problem in Africa, just because of the fact that when they're getting married, two people are getting married and the family gets involved, so they feel like they have to decide on what goes on when you get married. Tell you have to have kids, you have to,
We want our grandchildren.
yeah, and I don't get, and then especially when someone wants to, they want to choose who you should marry, and I hear that thing every time. People are adults. If your child is an adult, let them be adults. Let them make their own choices. Let them make their own mistakes.
But if you make your own choice and you go and bring the person and the person, because I've seen situations where parents didn't agree to support the potential spouse, and people went behind parents. I'm in love, and went to marry. And now they're being abused and they can't come out because...
But that's on them. No, but that's on them, not the parents. Because the parents don't want to let go of their kids. So you're making them feel guilty because you're not supporting them. If you supported them and they made a mistake, they can at least come back home. At least they made a mistake.
Let me give you this example of a friend of mine who, her mom, when she introduced the potential spouse, her mom sat her down and said, no. There is this energy with this person that I don't think is good. So I think you should hold on a bit. But what this lady said was that, I'm in love, Mom. What are the guarantees that I will get someone that I am in love with as much as I'm in love with this person? 3 children later, she can't even find her husband. Because
I get where you're coming from, okay? Life has got ups and downs. Do you think our parents know the things we do when we go outside? Do you know the things we've done? When we go outside, Charlie, when I was growing up, I was so independent because I grew up from a family where it got to a point where everybody was left to make their own decisions. As young as 13, 14, guys were chasing me. I was always out of the house. Nobody knew what I was doing. So why is that now you think just because I've found someone you want to decide for me and because I made a mistake? So what? We make mistakes. And when it comes to relationships, you can never guarantee that it will last forever. Because you meet people, they sound like they are the best, but you don't have control over another person. People can say nice things. You find out later that either he's a murderer somewhere, maybe he's a scammer, he's a serial rapist or something. How will you know?
When we start a relationship with people, are there signs that we actually overlook?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Plenty.
Definitely.
Plenty. Because you know why? You are always studying somebody, and we've always accepted that people come with pros and cons. So you can never find 100% of what you're looking for in a person.
But if somebody shows early signs of abuse,
but that's
one makes us think that they will change.
The mental, like I'm saying, mentally, you don't realize it's abuse. When I had my first, when I was dating my first boyfriend, that time there was no mobile phones, and so you have to wake up and take a risk to go to the person's house to see if the person is there or not. If the person is not there, you have to stand outside the person's house for hours, hoping the person will come out. But this guy would tell me he was lucky because they were a bit like financially sound, so they had a telephone. That one there, that type, and you ask me to call before I come to his house. I don't have a phone. I didn't have any money, so I'll have to go and look for a comm center or a phone card before I call. And this is what I was going through every time. So before I go to his house, mentally I have to stress. Charlie, I have to go and where am I going to get to call this guy? The day I decided to go there because I couldn't call, I went to catch him with somebody. The first day I just showed up because I was going for a class, and I said, he told me he had toothache the night before. I was just going to see how I was doing quickly, so I didn't think I should call. I got there was a lady 7 a.m. in the morning, so whether she slept over, I don't know.
She slept over.
So after that, anytime I get to his gate or his junction, my heart starts beating because I'll see. That's what I'm saying. And it went off for so long before I realized what was going on.
So the thing is that we actually do sense it. What prevents us from saying no?
Women tend to think that, oh, marriage will change him. Oh, if I do this, he will change. So I've seen this person, he likes girls, but when we marry, he will change. If I go the extra mile, he will change. If I do this, it will change. And that is sometimes the commencement of emotional abuse starts with us, because you tend to do things thinking, oh, the person would stay. And when the person realizes that you are sort of like killing yourself for him, that is when he starts the control. Do you understand? So, oh, when we marry, he will change. Oh, if I do this, he will change. If I do that, he will change. And you keep going miles to please, and then you end up losing yourself. So sometimes you can't really blame the men completely, okay? Because we put ourselves in that position.
Yeah, we enable them.
We enable them to act.
Yeah,
I think people don't take emotional abuse seriously.
That's what I said. That's the most serious.
And it's the most serious. Depression.
They don't encourage. They don't encourage counseling. The counseling you get is you go to the church and they say pray, but you need serious counseling, practical counseling, where it's got nothing to do with religion, where they get to the roots of the issue. And that's where I come from. But everybody feels once it's from the religion side and you go to your pastor and the pastor says he's your husband, or go and apologize to him, go and just be submissive, it's your fault. It's your fault. And then maybe you be like, he's not eating my food, he's not sleeping at home, and then maybe it's your fault. It's what you're doing. And you know that, like she said, you've gone out of your way to please this person, and yet the person is not appreciating anything you are doing.
So we'll go for a break and then come and continue. I'm really loving this conversation. Don't forget, you are here with us on Moans and Cuddles on Ghana Web TV. We are talking about that very difficult subject of abusive relationships and why sometimes it is so difficult for us women especially to just leave. We'll be right back. So welcome back to Moans and Cuddles here on Ghana Web TV. We are talking about abusive relationships, why it is so difficult for women especially to leave these abusive relationships, especially when our lives depend on it. And when we were on the break, something that was going on in my mind about how people who are influential in society, people who others look up to, and when they are abusive, no one seems to even believe that they are abusive. So if you are in a relationship with such a person, then what?
So I've heard of them, people who like are in, influential positions who either rape somebody or abuse someone and still stand in front of some platform and be saying good things. People are afraid because usually the perpetrators will put in the fear in you. And I like what you said. I like what you said about if you, the person, you're not in your own self. I used to be very, very. If I tell you how I used to be, I was the total opposite of who I am today. I won't talk. I had a serious inferiority complex. I felt like I was nothing, and it was because of the relationships I had been having where people were treating me so bad. So it made me just lose myself, and I didn't have any confidence. So if they say walk this way, I'll walk this way. Don't answer your phone, I won't answer my phone. And I was going through all of that, and I just lost myself. So I told myself, listen, my mental health is very important to me. If your mind is not healthy and your mind is not strong, anybody will just, So and you be like she said, you be withering slowly. People look at you and you look like a shadow of yourself.
Miss Na, how do we deal with a hypocritical society? How do we deal with the church, the mosque, the shrine, where when you go for advice, you are told to hold on, to sit there and wait and pray?
I think the only way for us to sort of come out of all this is with the self. It is about you, because the church will send you back. They'll tell you we don't condone divorce. We can't advise that you leave. Even when the abuse is so glaring, they can't stand there and say, okay, no, they can't do that. So the only thing they are going to advise is stay in there and pray. So everything is going to start with the self. Even family would send you back. I know of a lawyer friend of mine, and this is what he told me. He said he feels guilty for the death of a client. So I asked why. He said, I asked her to go back. I was the one who told her to go back. So right now, if he gets any divorce case, and the moment you mention abuse, that is it for him. He can even handle you pro bono. So it's all about the self. You need to get to the point where you say, I'm leaving, I'm done. I don't care what society says. I don't care what the church says. I don't care what my family, they can choose to support me.
Or not.
And the funny thing about family is that when you make up your mind, it will get to a point they will support you.
Yeah.
So until you get to the point where you say, I'm doing this for myself.
So then they'll just...
When you get to, they would come in. They would support, they would rally around you. So you have to get to the point where you tell yourself, I'm done. I'm not going to live for society, live for the church, live for family, live for anyone. I am going to live for me.
Yes. Yeah.
And that is where I would advise all women to get to.
You know about that? You know that people who actually say after the abuse, the sex is good.
Yeah, some people feel when he beats you
Make
up,
up sex.
yeah,
I wish
that's what you said about
also
when
soft.
people get used to the abuser.
Yeah.
You get used
fall
to
in
what
love
he's
with
doing.
the-
That's
with-
all
I think
you
they fall in
know.
love with the
Yeah,
abuse.
that's
You
all
You
you
know what I
know.
think? I think that one goes deeper than just falling in love with that.
It's not love.
It might be
It's
the
not
upbringing
love.
of the person.
You're so used to what you're getting, so you think that is all I'm getting.
All that I deserve.
That's it. I've seen people who have been kidnapped
Raped.
and for years, and they try and leave, and they go back to the person who kidnapped them.
Do you
Because
know
your
why?
mind, I told you, the mind is a very powerful
Isn't that what
thing.
they call the Stockholm syndrome? Where you fall in love with the person that
It happens all the time.
Don't you think
It happens
it's deeper
all
than
the
that?
time. It's not
Because
love. You
let
see,
me-
when you
let
are
me
using
give you an
love, it's not
example.
love. It's just the person has taken over your mind.
Love in the sense where, we fall in love with people, and situations change, and people become whatever it is they become.
Yeah.
So you look beyond the abuser. You look.
So
you
it's not
always
love.
remind
It's not
yourself
love.
of
It's
the
not love.
person you fell in love with, and not the person that you're seeing abuse you.
How are you going to be in love with someone who is doing negative things?
No, that's what I'm saying, that they don't look at the abuse as in the abuser.
That's what I'm saying. The person has control. He has control over your mind. Because you can't tell me that you're with someone who rapes you, beats you up, has cut everybody else off of you, and you tell me you're in love with the person.
Do you ladies think it is possible for an abusive person to say, I love this woman so much, I put a stop to it?
I don't think so. That's what I'm saying. Because the person himself is sick. How is he going to just get up one day and stop?
I don't see it happening. If it happens, I think out of
maybe the person left the abusee. Can I say the abusee? Because the abuser and the abusee. Yeah, it left the relationship. So then now you're alone. Sometimes you're alone with your own thoughts. But the person is not in that space with you anymore.
Okay, so you think...
So you're not stopping because you were in the same space with her. She left.
Don't you think that there are people who... You know, they don't even know that.
Oh, people
this is what is
know.
Once he's done,
I'm telling you, they know.
Once he's done, he will do it again.
Some people get something from abusing someone.
That control.
That's
what I'm saying.
The power that they get from abusing.
Psychopaths,
narcissists,
narcissists.
The power.
They like to manipulate. Narcissists are people who like to manipulate people, and they will lie so much they believe in their own lies. And they prey on people who are like passionate people, like empaths, kind people. And they prey on people like that, and then they destroy you. I've dated one before. It's terrible.
I know.
They don't even know what they are doing. When you
they know what
catch
they are doing.
What I mean is that he doesn't know us, and he's believed. He's allowed himself to believe in what he's doing. So even when you catch him with his hand in the stew type of thing, you'll be like, he's not the one.
No, he would make you question your perspective.
And they call it gaslighting. It's called gaslighting. When they mess up and you question, and they'll be like,
are you sure you saw me? Like, are you
serious? You even think that you are the one who has it. He'll mess you up mentally.
Exactly.
Those people, I said, they are sick. So if someone is doing this to you, how can you say that same love is what you, whatever? Change. The person doesn't even understand what love is. And like I said, there are a lot of things that make people do certain things and accept certain things. Like when it comes to a relationship and a woman is even telling a guy, a typical example, oh, I've been trying to reach your phone. You didn't come home early. What?
And so?
Me too, go to school. Me na my team in Sika.
Okay.
Stuff like that. So well, you can't even talk. You're afraid to talk.
Sure. So let's wrap up. So what do we say? What should we do? How do we gather the courage to live?
Work. Prepare yourself, psych yourself, put things into place, and work. Always. That's all I can say. Work. Yeah. Don't stay in an abusive marriage. It's not going to
for your kids.
Will it change?
No.
Do you think it would change? No. At what time will it change? When you're old and grey? No. If you know it's not working, it's not working. It won't change from tomorrow. 5 years, 6 years. So you're going to endure and literally cut your life short just to make a marriage or a relationship work. Please, if you can, put things into place and work.
Yeah, because you can lose your life, like you said. People get beaten up so much and then they get killed all the time. Some men are so controlling that if you say you want to leave and he's been able to control you for so long, eventually he may end up killing you and your kids. So that it's like nobody else can have you. Those people are sick people. So like I'm saying, you talked about signs. We know that relationships are not, you can't know everything about somebody, but at least do your homework well. Know the standards you're looking for. Choose wisely and don't be blinded by just that feeling or butterflies in your tummy. Go beyond that. Do it like you're applying for a school or something. Look at the person as beyond the feelings you have for him. Don't ignore the signs and make sure that you yourself are a complete person. When you get involved with somebody, make sure there's always a way out.
Oh, sure.
So you should have at least some financial savings or something that's just for you.
Exactly.
That's what I think every woman should do, especially in Africa.
Yeah, definitely.
We should encourage women to be independent.
Well, so we have to gather the courage and walk. I always say that If you think you're doing it for the children, that is even worse, because you're going to make your children grow up to think that abuse is normal.
Yeah.
Don't do it for your children. Do it for yourself. Gather the courage and walk away. It's been great here on Moans and Cuddles. I did this with Miss Too Known and then Miss Na. Miss Na, I've really enjoyed your company this evening. Yeah. My name is Akosia Konedu Owusu. You are here with us on Moans and Cuddles on Ghana Web TV. We'll come your way another time. Bye-bye.